Hello, and welcome to another video from Sustenance and Cover & All, the YouTube channel you need to not only survive the current apocalypse, but actually enjoy it. And today we're going to be talking about another video in our gun basics series. This one's going to be types of guns. And when I say types of guns, I mean this, which is known as a long gun, versus this, which is a handgun. Basically, any gun that will fit in your hand is a handgun. There are different types of handgun as there are different types of long gun. This handgun is called a semi-automatic. This is called a revolver. The reason we call this a revolver is because the bullets are in a chamber that revolves. You see it, however many bullets will fit in there. This one holds 5. They can hold anything from 4 to 7, and in fact, there are weird guns that hold many more than that, and some that hold less. However, there are benefits and there are drawbacks of each type. Just concentrating on handguns, any gun that can be held in your hand, one hand, the revolver is limited. The amount of bullets it can hold is dependent on how many holes there are in this thing. When you pull the trigger on this, it will cause this cylinder to turn to the next available bullet and fire that bullet. It is all mechanical. There is nothing magic about this. This will never jam for any reason other than some kind of catastrophic failure. Now, there is a drawback to that as well. Since your finger is doing all the work, it's a lot harder to pull the trigger, and your gun will walk. As you're pulling the trigger, the extra energy it takes will cause your gun to move around. This gun fires like a dream, and the reason for that is it does not have a rotating cylinder that must be moved forward using only the energy in your finger. This thing can have just a hair trigger. What happens is, as the projectile comes out of the front of the gun, the casing pushes the top of the gun back, which, and I'll demonstrate that, it causes a new bullet to go into the chamber automatically. It's not your energy, it's the energy of the bullet that cycles the gun. And I'll show you how that works. When it comes back, and just keep your eyes open, I'm sure you can see it, it's not firing at full speed. See, the bullet comes out. When it goes forward, new bullet goes in. It is automatic, and as a pistol is called automatic, but the reality is that is semi-automatic, which distinguishes it from full automatic. A pistol can be full automatic as well as a rifle. Full automatic is generally what is used by the military in combat. Those are the guns that when someone pulls the trigger, they continue to fire until the trigger is released. However, unlike TV, where people hold the trigger down for hours on end, you can only hold the trigger down for about 2 seconds before all of your bullets are gone. So on TV, where you hear brrrr, reality, what you would hear is brrrr. That's it. This holds 18 rounds, gives you a lot more firepower than a revolver, which is going to be limited by the amount of bullets that will go into the cylinder. You can actually buy extensions where you have a magazine that sits out about like that and holds, oh, I don't know, whatever the limits of the imagination of the builder are. But in any case, there are drawbacks to this other than the fact that it has to depend on that gun's energy, and that actually is a big deal. Because if you are in a combat situation or a survival situation or any time where maybe your arm is hurt and you're weak or you're scared, if you do not hold this gun rigidly and the gun does not fully cycle, you'll get this. A jam. That is what a jam is. Now, this is actually called a stovepipe. There are other types of jams. These things are known for jamming. This is a Beretta PX4 Storm. Least amount of jams I've ever experienced in a gun. Period. Bar none. Problem is, even one jam is bad news if you're in a life and death struggle. Another problem is when you're using a semi-automatic pistol, if you're, say, in bed And like me, I keep mine under the covers with me if I just got a sheet on me and I'm going to shoot through the sheet. It can get tangled up in there and then your gun is useless. Whereas you can shoot through a pillow with this over and over again and the bullet will just keep coming out. There's nothing going to stop that. Now, why would you want a pistol over a rifle? We're going to talk about that. This is a long gun. It is a rifle. Some long guns are called carbines, and they may be, oh, I don't know about that long. Carbines are generally used by the military. They are not as accurate as a rifle, but they don't take up as much space and are easier to transport on a, say, a marching troop. But the reality is, this is your front sight, this is your rear sight. The farther these two are apart, the more accurate you're going to be. So, if I'm standing here and I'm looking right into a deer's eye, and this moves just a millimeter, I know it because there's a lot of difference. A millimeter from here to here is noticeable. On a pistol, this is your front sight, this is your rear sight. That's only about 6 inches. If you're actually trying to get a squirrel, and you know you got to hit him in the head, you'll never do it with a pistol unless you've got some kind of special talent that is beyond my ability to understand. This is a good self-defense weapon. Very, very, very poor hunting weapon. So you can see that you will never be able to hunt with this, no matter what. You can listen to whoever you want, but this is a fact. This is not something you can use to hunt. If you can only have one weapon for self-defense and hunting, it has to be a rifle just by virtue of the fact that you can do both with this. But you are going to be very limited on self-defense with this gun. The reason being, self-defense is basically where, and this is by law, we're talking about now, not after Teotihuacan or WROL or any of that stuff. Right now, if you know somebody is threatening your life and they're coming down the road and you see them at the intersection and you use this to take them out, that's called sniping, also known as murder. You will not be able to lie your way out of it. By law, self-defense is you defending yourself from an imminent threat. And you think about it, you can go through every scenario you want. Basically, an imminent threat is something that is about to cause you problems. If you're laying in bed and you hear your door get busted down, the amount of time it takes you to wake up to what's going on, that person is in the doorway of your bedroom. The amount of time it takes you to reach over and grab this rifle as opposed to reaching next to you and grabbing a pistol, because this will not be in your bed, pistol might be, is the amount of time it takes for that perpetrator to be on top of you. Now you can see what the problem is. This is not a handgun. It cannot be fired with one hand. You know, not very well anyway. Certainly, you cannot fire this at somebody that is on your chest with one hand. Pistol, not that hard. I mean, you can be in a situation where you can't even use a pistol, but a lot easier to get in a situation where you cannot use a rifle. Now, so we've already discussed, if you want to hunt, this is my opinion, and it is valid. In a survival situation, you have to have a rifle to hunt. The smaller the caliber, the better, because you want to be as quiet as possible. If you can have a self-defense weapon and a hunting weapon, you need both. But you cannot use this for hunting. Might be a good self-defense weapon, but every day you're going to wake up with a need for food. You will not wake up every day with a need to defend yourself with a gun. One other type of gun I can think about right now that we need to discuss, and that is only because if you are limited, say if you're a millionaire, I'd say go out and get a couple of cases of guns and millions of rounds of ammo. But if you're like me and you can only get one gun, I mean, if you can see down the future that maybe 2 years from now you can get another gun. If you have poultry, right now, you can lock them up inside of a fenced-in area and just feed them commercial feed all day. In a survival situation, that will not even be an option. Your chickens will have to run free because they're going to have to find their own food. That being the case, they will always go in at night to roost, where you can protect them in a chicken house from nighttime predators. During the day, the majority of your predators are flying predators. You cannot hit a flying predator with a .22 rifle. But another option is a shotgun. Shotgun shell can spread out bullets over an area of 5 feet wide maybe, and that'll take a bird out. You'll kill your chicken too. You generally, I have shot a hawk out of the air recently with a chicken, and the hawk and the chicken both hit the ground, and the chicken got up and ran off. But the reality is they have a gun. It's called an over and under. Now on this gun, this is a semi-automatic rifle, so the bullets go in here. But over and under, this would actually be a little barrel, and this would be a big barrel. The big barrel would be for a .410, and the small barrel would be for a .22 pistol round, or single shot round like that. And it just would have a little switch back here that would give you the option of shooting the shotgun or the rifle. You have one shot at .22, one shot at shotgun, but it is a weapon that you could use for any situation, but you would be limited. It's only an option for people that cannot afford to buy more than one gun. So basically that's it. You can have a rifle for hunting, a pistol for self-defense, and if you absolutely have to have a shotgun for defending your chickens, then you can get what's called an over and under. That's it. Bye-bye from Sustenance and Covering.